I started this drawing earlier this week, planning to come on here bright and early Saturday morning. I overslept by about an hour, but here I am. We didn't have a scheduled time for that. It's just I'm starting to think maybe I should schedule a Saturday morning time. Anyway, if you've come by, I want to thank you very much for stopping in. I'm looking to grow my channel. I would love to have you subscribe if you enjoy watching drawing or learning about drawing. Today we're going to do a line drawing of this and then start painting it in. And it's either going to be ultimately in a cyberpunk style or a steampunk style. I'm not totally sure where I'm going to go with this. I'm just going to get the drawing going here in a minute. Before I do that, I'm going to show you the the time lapse. It'll just take a minute to put that together. I'm so glad it's Saturday. My job has me working Monday through Friday, and so Saturday is not officially my job. That's why I come on here. This is not my job. This is my passion, and I think that's why I keep making videos and enjoying it and connecting with other people who enjoy this kind of thing. So I love it that you've come by to visit. And I'll get started in a minute. Oh, here we go. I'll show you where I started on this drawing. Very basic stuff going on from the beginning, just working out. Oh, watch the nose. I could not decide how I wanted to do this nose, and I kept redoing it, and it gets kind of weird looking a couple times. I just kept redoing it and redoing it. Everything else worked okay. I think I finally got the nose where I wanted it. The cat came pretty easy. Oh, I've started using a new tool. It's a skew tool, and at some point maybe I'll show it to you. Maybe I'll do a whole session on skewing drawings. You basically select the whole drawing and then you kind of push and pull the corners of the box that holds the drawing, and it completely changes you can make it like this eye. I made this eye bigger and that eye smaller. I kind of brought her whole head towards the camera. Okay, there we are. We're done. So I'm going to, first of all, drink my coffee. No, that's not the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to bring the opacity down on this quite a bit and start a new layer on top of it. And good morning for folks who have joined me. Thank you so much for saying hello. Nebkab, peace. Thank you. Hello. Excuse my sniffing. I'm getting over a cold. I'll try not to do that. All right, we're going to start out by just doing some outlining of this gal. And I think on this one, I'm going to keep her hair short. In fact, I may end up, I'm going to lock this layer of her. Oh, that's right. I did do a line drawing already. I was practicing. So we'll lock that layer, and I'm going to delete this layer because that's just a little, and I'll lock this layer. And then, excuse me again, I will add, is there a mute? I wonder if there's a mute on here. This is a good question. Oh, there is. Okay, I'm back. So I'm going to pick up a vector brush in black and just get started here. And I think we're going to do that's not going to work. Just clean that line up a little bit. I've got my morning coffee here. That's good. I may end up putting a jacket over her at some point, but for now, I'm just gonna do it with the sleeveless, and then we'll see where it goes. Try and do cleanup as I go. Because a lot of times I like to block in some vector color by just doing a paint bucket dump. And if you don't have your lines joined, it'll spill out all over the paper. So I'm always kind of aware of that as I'm going along. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to grow my channel. If you enjoy learning about drawing or just watching someone draw, I'm the channel for you. I come on here couple times a week and draw. I also make artistic shorts. And I really enjoy doing it. So let me tell you something about YouTube. When you go on YouTube, a lot of times there'll be ads. And for many, many people, unless they're what you call a YouTuber, those ads do nothing for the person who you're watching. They're just clogging up the airway with the ad to pay for YouTube, of course, so YouTube can operate as a business. But the person who you're watching isn't necessarily getting anything from that ad unless they're monetized. And the way you get monetized is you have to get 1,000 subscribers, and you have to have those subscribers watch your channel, not your shorts, but your videos and your live broadcasts for at least minimum 3,000 hours to get the first level of monetization. But really, it's 4,000 hours to get any benefit from those advertisements. And so there's lots and lots of people out there who put things up on YouTube. I used to think of YouTube as a closet. And I would just, upload things that I wanted to save or share. It was an easy way to share things, it's true, and it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then I started noticing that they run ads on and I'm like, why are they running an ad with my video? And that's when I started learning about monetization, and for a long time I didn't care. I'm like, well, whatever. They have to make a living. I'm not liking this, so I'm gonna go back. Hit the back button. One of the advantages of drawing digitally is you don't have to pull out your eraser. You just hit the back button. Oopsie. So anyway, I have decided recently, when I decided that I was going to draw live, I decided that I think I want to get monetized. I'm not there yet, and I really want to get there. And nobody, nobody makes their living out from YouTube alone, I don't think. I mean, maybe there are some. I'm just looking for just a little bit of extra for my retirement, which is a little bit around the corner. I'm in my 60s, so it is going to happen. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Let's just keep going. So that's a little bit about my story of why I'm on here drawing live. I don't really want to get a job working at like a university or something, teaching drawing. I almost did that years ago. I got an offer, but I ended up moving. And I have taught kids in schools, younger grades. I did that quite a bit. I taught woodworking, hand woodworking. I've taught snow sculpture. I've taught calligraphy. But I like the freedom that I have right now on my weekends and my evenings to, if I want to, I can do a lesson or I can do something else. So there's an advantage to YouTube. It's a very independent, free schedule. It's up to you what you want to do. That little claw's coming out because she's kind of gripping right there, I decided. Okay. Thanks for joining me. We'll just keep on going with this drawing. So when I started out this morning, I had 744 subscribers, I think. So I'm hoping when I get done with this YouTube live, I'll have a couple more. And what does that mean for you? That means that when you come on and check out my channel, I will have a video like this where I have demonstrated how to draw live, or I'll have a how-to video that I prepare ahead of time with editing, that you can learn how to do something with an Adobe Illustrator program. I'm sorry, not Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Fresco. This is the Adobe Fresco program. You can get a free version of this program, and you can operate it on any device, almost pretty much any device that has a stylus, I believe, will accept this program. This is a stylus. This is an Apple Pencil. And this is an iPad that I'm using. I have used Wacom Tablet in the past. Oops, went a little wonky with that line. So one of the things I've learned with doing these lives is sometimes, like when I get, so if I want to do something like super perfect, I put my hand right here, and sometimes you can't even see what I'm drawing. And so I try to have my pencil out here. I just don't have the same amount of control when I have the pencil that far away from my hand. My hand's here, the tip's way out here. And so I have to be pretty confident about what I'm doing, which sometimes I am. Oopsie. Didn't mean to erase that. I actually wanted to add to it. And I used to play music when I did this, but I was getting copyright strikes, even though it was music that was on YouTube. Oh, well, and actually it wasn't they weren't strikes. I never got a copyright strike, but I would get these warnings and like made me nervous. But I since then have been, I did publish recently, I took a bunch of my drawings and I put them all together in one video, and I used Kevin MacLeod's, I think Almost in F, I think it's called, and it's just music and drawing for, I think it's like 20-minute drawing or 20-minute video. So I hope to do more of those. Another problem that I've run into on YouTube with doing art is that my phone, even though I can put it on horizontal, um, it works better if I just leave it like this. I've had it where the horizontal feed, I think it's on horizontal feed and it's not actually on that. I think I'm like, it looks to me like I'm doing a horizontal aspect ratio, but I'm not. I'm doing a vertical like a phone. And so there's a couple different feeds that YouTube comes up with. And I kept ending up on the phone feed, basically, the vertical feed. And so now I've oriented all my drawings, like as you can see, tall and skinny, like a phone screen, because most people hold their phones the way vertically, like, vertically, like this. And so they assume that's the way most people are going to hold their phones. So that's the way they want to run these mobile videos. So I kind of gave in to the system that way. Um, so I put a square buckle on her. I don't know if I really want that square buckle, unless I put an image in there. So maybe that's what I'll end up doing. Apologize for the coughing here and there. I'm still getting over my cold. Eventually I have at least one drawing on my channel of a horse. I love horses. I don't know if you do. I love all animals, but I particularly love horses. And I have a horse named Magnum, and people say, well, isn't that an expensive habit? And I'm like, yep, it is an expensive habit. But it's one that I put off until my kids were raised and out of college. I did pay for lessons for my daughter so that she could learn about horses when she was young. I couldn't afford to have one and pay for school and all that kind of thing. So now that I'm older, I do own a horse. I don't ride the horse I have. I used to, but he gets a little cantankerous, and that's actually the wrong word. He gets scared. And he, like, a sound can set him off, and he will kind of buck bolt, and I have a hard time sitting it when that happens. So a buck is, they hunch their back up, and a bolt is a very, very, very fast movement. Both of those things can happen when a horse is scared. I mean, technically, I've been told he doesn't bolt. That bolting is the horse will full on run all the way back to the barn. At a very, very high speed, and that's true. He's not doing that. He always comes back and checks on me when I fall off. So I've just gotten to the age where I decided I just cannot afford to fall off anymore. And so I just take care of my beautiful, very fancy, beautiful horse. But we did do some fun stuff. Okay, so back to the part about, isn't that expensive to own a horse? Yes, it is. You have to pay to take care of their feet every 6 weeks. You have to pay to have the vet check on them. You have to pay for, the biggest expense is paying for a place for them to live. And so what I did was, I used to own a 3-bedroom, not a huge house, but a house. And I sold my house So I downsized to half the size. I live in a 650 square foot condo with no garage, by the way. And I can afford to pay to have a 12 by 12 stall for my horse out in the county. And then he gets to go outside and graze every day. That's a little woogly. That line is a little woogly, and it's kind of an important line because it's the lip. So part of what I'm doing here is I am trying to establish a YouTube channel that's monetized so that when I do retire, I might have a little stream of income that will help me take care of my horse in his old age, because he is healthy as a horse. Thanks for listening to my little story. Let me check the comments. I don't understand that word. I'm sorry. And I can't, I probably could go off and translate it, but right now, I can't leave the chat to do that. But thank you for the comment anyway. I hope that I'll be able to translate it later and learn what it was you wanted to say. All right, so now I'm ready to do some selections and start painting this in. So I'm going to start by selecting everything that is a skin color for her, and I'm going to use the magic wand. Oh, I noticed that's okay. That thumbnail is the only thing that hasn't. I wonder if I can just go in there and draw that thumbnail in. And I'm going to go back to the magic wand and I'm going to deselect and reselect and put that thumbnail back in there. Go on. I drew a thumbnail in. All right, I'll draw it again. Here we are. Thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate people watching me draw. That builds up my watch hours. And I know people come and go, and that's great. Feel free to go take care of whatever you need to and come on back. I'll be here for a while. Okay, we're going to go back and select the areas that I am going to paint with a skin color. I think we've got them all. Okay, what that does is it isolates so that I can take, I'm going to add another layer here. And I can choose a skin color, which I will go in here. I'll go pretty light. I'll probably come back and darken it up, put some shadows in. Let's see, is that going to, yeah. And then I'm gonna go pretty big with this paint because I just wanna put, this paint brush, I just wanna put an overall color down. And you notice it's not going on her shirt. Oh, I missed that little shoulder there. So I'm going to go back here and pick that. Deselect. Deselect. Okay, I have to go on this one and pick that. Okay, I've chosen everything again. Go back up to my paint layer, grab my paintbrush. Okay. I'm going to go to a kind of a gray to, I think, for her skin color to create a shadow. And I'm just going to try something that I haven't done before, which is go to an extreme. So I think what I'm going to do is go to more of a purple. Okay, and I'm going to let that be. Now I'll probably create another layer up here. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to choose the cat. With my magic wand. And I'm going to go ahead with I'm going to go with a blue, I think. A bluey gray. We'll start off really light. Go back to the watercolor, I'm just going to make a cat layer. Just fill in that kitty cat. Now, I'm going to stay with this being highlighted, where I'm controlling where the color is going. It's only going on the cat, but I am going to use a very fine fine brush so that I can kind of create some bulk where some shadow and some mass. Something I've learned over time is originally I learned, well, put the shadow only in the places that are far away so that it shows perspective, you know, and you put the shadow in the background. But what I realized is that light hits objects from all around sometimes, and the light is not always right in front, and that you can create bulk and mass by having a darker center area where there's, for instance, right there, this is kind of skinny, it might be hard to show it. But the light is hitting the edges rather than the opposite where the light hits the middle. Okay, and now I am going to go even darker in a minute. So it's really, really bleeding in more than what I want. And so I'm only going to do a little bit here. And then I'm going to switch to a new layer. You'll see in a minute. So I just added a layer on top. And now when I put this down, it's not going to blend. I can actually create some shadows now. Okay, I'm liking that. Here's where I wanted to create some additional shadowing. Just gonna double check the comments. Thanks again for stopping by. I don't know if I like those lines I just did under the eyes. I want lines under the eyes, but those didn't really work for me. That's better. Okay, so now I think I want to have some I think I'm going to go with a little bit of the purple that I pulled into her. And let's see what happens if I start to add purple to this cat, which means we probably go in cyber style with the cat. So now we've added a little tiger stripe to this kitty. And we'll maybe add a little bit more right on his paw here. And then the next thing we're going to do, I'll probably add another layer. And I'm going to go back to that light blue. And I'm going to grab a rake. Let me find a rake here. Rakes. Big rake tends to work best for me. And then we will work on, so we're on this layer, the rake. If you can see, it's probably hard to see the rake, which is probably good because I don't want the rake to be too obvious. It's basically adding some texture that looks like hair. And in a minute, I'll go with a darker rake so it's easier to see. I just want to get this rake down first. And be consistent with it. Oh, I seem to have missed painting. Let me go back here and paint a little paw that I missed. Watercolor. Oopsie. I think the problem actually is way back here. I didn't select it. Now I've selected it. Go back to my paint layer. Add some blue paint in there. Oh my. I'm going to go really, really small with that. Ah, I've got the wrong paintbrush. There we go. That's what was going on. Okay, now I'm going to go back up here to my rake layer and go back to work with my rake. So it's not going to show up there very well because it's the same exact color. These rakes have speeded up my drawings quite a bit. I used to draw all these lines by hand, one at a time. But learning how to use the rakes, finding the right rake that works for you saves a lot of time with drawing. And when I'm drawing live, it matters more, I think. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Hello, Pink. Nice to see you. I'll take a drink of my coffee. And go back to, let's choose a darker color now. I think we'll go ahead with that purple and see what happens if I start putting purple rake lines in this kitty. can use those rake lines to create a little bit of style too. When they show up, they show up. Here I'm going to end up doing a lot white rake lines around the chin, but for now we'll start with that. Okay, I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to create some nice dark, hairs. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate folks checking in to see what's going over here in the live drawing. This is a cat and a woman. I haven't figured out the background yet, just figuring out the characters. And that's what I'm going to address today. Probably going to go over that with a white. I'm realizing I don't think I want that super dark. Okay. Do a little bit of blending with a gray before I go back with the white. I'm just going to pick up some areas where maybe I'm not sure that I'm totally in love with the spots right here, so I'm going back to that layer, and I'm going to, this might be too much. Create some highlight. Ooh, I kind of like that. Let's do that over here too. Create a little bit of highlight around the eye. That's feeling better. Undo that. Okay, now go back to my rake layer, go back to this layer. Let's add some white. Bring a little light around his nose and his eyes, and definitely the chin. A little highlight on his paw. Remember, light comes from all sorts of sources sometimes, not just one, as we're often taught in basic drawing classes. And it's because it makes it easy to understand how light works. But light really comes from lots of places. And then there's, with fur, there's actually white areas that have nothing to do with light. They're just white hairs. Might go back here and go with the purple right at the bottom. Create a little shadow under here. I think that's going to work better for me. Yeah. And right here. Okay. I'm going to stop highlighting that cat. Deselect. How do we like it? I like it. I think I'm going to come in and start adding some darker colors. Actually meant to add a black, but that I'm like, oh, what would it look like if? There we go. So with these eyes, I think I'm going to go ahead and add a background color, which is going to be a darker shade of that blue. So that blue, let's go with this one right here. Yeah. Let's make her eyes blue too. And then just so I don't have background showing through, I'm going to add some white here to her eyes. Same with that little part of the underlid that's showing, which I don't have over here, by the way. Interesting problem. I think I do want it. I want to have that. I'm going to go back here, grab my black. I'm just going to show part of it there. Maybe more. Erase. Too big. So you see it's actually, whoopsie, showing paint underneath or sketch underneath. You can see those little pixely lines. So I don't want things showing through, so I'm going to go ahead and bucket fill that with a white like I did the other eye. There we go. And then I think I'm going to go and add a layer in between here and just work on the eyes and do back here with my white. Don't worry, I'm going to fix this. Oops. Change it to a black. Okay. We got some details in those eyes I wanted to get. So now I'm going to go to that layer right above it. Actually, I'm going to put that layer below it, and I'm going to add some paint. In this lighter color. No, interesting problem. I'm going to have to go above, and then I'm going to have to erase basically where I don't want the color to be. Which is fine. There's a lot of different ways to get the look that you're after with this program. That's what I wanted right there. So I want a little bit of shadow of the lid. And what I'm trying to create is some variation in the eye with, and I want the irises nice and dark, but you really start to get that round feeling now with those. With hers, I'm going to go with a very tiny brush. I'm going to do the same thing, but it's going to be really tiny. And just going to check the comments really quick. Hello, Pink. I might have already said hello to you. Hello again. Just for fun, I think I'm going to add a little bit of green, and I might have to do another layer because it'll probably mix too much. But let's try it first on this layer. I'm going to add some green to her eye. What happens when I add a little? It mixes a little bit more than what I want. So let me go and add a layer right on top of it. Whoops. I just want sort of some green flecks in her eyes. And then I'll do a little cleanup too, because I don't want it coming over the black. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and merge down. So I have this option to, so that's the eyes. Sometimes it has the option to dry it before you merge it. I did not, and I wonder if those bled a little bit when I did that. It's totally fine. I like that they're showing up. Might be fun to put a little bit of purple in this eye for the cat. So I want to be on that layer. I'm going to go back and add some purple. Interesting. Not what I expected. Let me undo that. Add another layer. There we go. Okay. I think we'll do a little bit of paint on the nose. I'm just going to do a black watercolor. And I'm going to do the same. Oh, okay. I want to add some shadow up here, but it's bleeding into that. So let's do this. Get our black lines nice and clear again. I like that. Okay, so I think what I'm going to have to do is go back up here. Oh, I've got the eraser. Don't want that. I want to have the black shadow. Oh, wow. What is happening? Okay, and then I'm going to go back here to this layer and I'm going to select, I think we'll paint her nails. Kind of a simple, mindless task is to paint her nails. You know, what's kind of cool is I could actually paint her nails with, you know, like a style with like some details. Like I could put swirlies on them or polka dots on them or whatever I wanted to, really. And I might do that. We'll add a layer right on top. I'm going to go back with a vector line because it's a nice clean line. And I think I'll go with go with an orange. Each nail is going to have a little different design. And there, we've got some pretty nails. Okay, moving on. Deselect. What is that? Wrong layer, evidently. This layer, I wanted to put some lip color on. First, we'll start out with let's go here to this where the skin is, and we'll put a skin color on with a watercolor. We're just going to go way back here. I'm going to make it a little bit with a little more pigment, just to put some shadow. Then I'm going to go with a pink. Oh, I know what I wanted to do that I didn't do when I first did this. So let me choose the face and the neck. And I'm going to go back to the watercolor. And I'm going to go to a blush. I'm going to go to a huge brush. And I'm just going to go like this. There we go. Love it. So what I can do is I can bring a little bit of highlight in there with a nice soft, let me look at my erasers, half round opacity. So I should be more careful with that eraser line. Now I'm going to go back again with the shadow I had before. Whoops. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so now I go on this layer. Oh, I picked the wrong brush. That was the problem. Not what I wanted. I didn't want to grab her chin here. I want that to stay light. So I'm going to have to like narrow this way down so that the paint doesn't bleed. There, I just want to create a little bit of shadow, a little bit of difference there. Same thing here on the underside of the nose. A little bit right here. That's good. There. Let's get the hair, the eyebrows. Actually, let's just get the hair. There we go. Let's do a bucket fill of black. Oh, I noticed I've got some skin there that's missing. I wonder now at this point if it would be better just to bring her hair over there because I've done so many layers on the skin. I think it might be. So I'm going to stop for the moment. Deselect. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me. I appreciate it very much. Interessante. Okay. I need to figure out. I think I'm going to have to go back and paint this. That's just how it is. I'm just going to have to. So let's go with our skin color. Let's go with our magic wand and grab that area too. And then let's add some shadow on top of it. Okay. That works for me. Merge down. Now I've got the skin layer with that little bit there. I'm going to go back to working on the hair. If I can, the hair is here. Okay, so this is the layer I want to work on now. Plus, I actually want a hair layer here. Deselect. I'm going to go with the rake again. I am going to select her hair back to where we were. Interesting. I've just created an issue for myself, and I'm trying to figure it out. So I'm going to stop selecting, deselect. I'm going to go with a vector line in a gray. I'm going to create another layer. Okay, so that has to go here. We'll undo that line. Okay, now I have a separate layer with the hair that I can select, and then I can start doing the rake brushes on top of it. So we'll go up here to the rake, and I'm going to add a black rake. I'm going to go pretty big with this rake this time. Just to get some overall lines happening, then I'm going to narrow it down. And then I'm going to switch to my charcoal. Charcoal pencil variant. I'm going to go back to my gray color. And I might go just a little bit lighter with that, actually. Ah, there it is. Okay, let's bring that down to something manageable. And it disappears. Okay, so where's the sweet spot? There we go. Okay, I'm going to deselect now and keep going so that the hair can have a more natural look. Kind of letting it fly free. Around the edges. So here, interestingly, I have a little bit of an issue because I've got my paint layers. I may have to come back and do at the very end, I'll make this look a little more natural around her face. Because you see how it's automatically selecting, and it's because this black layer is underneath that layer, which is fine for now. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to go back in here and paint her eyebrows. And we'll just put a little bit of gray in there, very fine line. I think I'm going to go back to this hair layer because it's on top of everything else. And I'm going to add some vector eyelashes. Let's start with the gray. Do I want to do that? No, I want to do a thicker line. Whoops. I can actually choose basic. So I can choose where begin taper. So we'll play around with that one. So one end is going to be tapered. It begins with a taper. I'm going to change back to black. It begins with a taper. So I'm on this, oh, again, okay, I'm gonna go way up here on top of everything. This is kind of crazy, but to get her eyelashes to show up. Oops. To go back and, so the eyelashes actually come from the lid a little more like that. I didn't really do that here. And we're going to highlight these in a minute. Okay, about to switch to a gray. I'm going to make this line a little bit less. So I'm only going to do a few of them with that much boldness. The rest of them, I'm going to bring that line way, way down. And I'll have to be fairly careful about how I do that. And then we'll just let that highlight disappear. do I want to do this? I want to do it this way. And while we're here, we might as well add that nice white highlight that okay. Well, thanks for chiming in. So Ilham, I am using the iPad Pro. A lot of questions here from Ilham in Bali, Indonesia. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you too. I'm an illustrator. Yes, I am. I have a book out right now that you can get on Amazon or on my website. It's a children's book that I illustrated a couple years ago. I've got another one in the works, but I've been focusing more on building my YouTube channel right now. And then when I get up to a certain point, when I hit a goal on that, I'm going to switch back to illustrating that children's book and finding a literary agent. Okay, so I think we're going to go with a nice turquoise here. I'm going to go back and collect the shirt with my magic wand. And I think I'll go up to a paint layer. I may have to create another paint layer. There we go. A nice strong color, nice wide brush in watercolor. Okay. Oh, something happened and it didn't go to a nice wide brush. There we go. And let's add another layer. And then on top of that, so I think we'll dry that layer and merge it down. And we'll add another layer on top. It's going to be a vector layer. No. Nope. It's going to be, we're going to do a pattern on this dress. We'll just go with a charcoal variant. A little bit narrower. We have to find where it'll actually show. So part of what I have to do, let me make sure I'm not over the, so I'm going to have to hold my pen way out at the end so that I don't cover up what I'm doing as I'm drawing for you. Okay, that's looking good. I like that. Thanks everybody who's joined me and who's hanging in here. So I think I'm going to go back up to that green. I'll deselect and Okay, I am probably going to call it a day. We can play around with adding some background to this before I go. I'm not going to detail out the background, but I think it calls for a nice detailed background. And I may finish that online tomorrow or just share it on a different type of video format, but here on YouTube. I'm going to add a layer now. I'm going to add some background, a bucket color in the background, which is a little bold. I like that one, although I don't like what it's doing to her arm, so I'm not going to do that one. Not enough contrast. It's also showing through. That's super interesting. So that arm, everything's showing through that arm. Let me go back to a white. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to go back to, I like finding problems like this and how do you solve it. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to create another layer right above that one, but I'm going to go back here and I'm going to select all the skin areas. And I'm going to bucket fill a white background. I want to be so I'm going to undo that. Not going to bucket fill there. I'm going to bucket fill on this layer right here. Vector. So now when I fill this layer, I'm going to stop selecting with a bright color. I think it does not show through. Perfect. There's a little bit more of a highlight on her arm that I want. I might come back and fix that later. So I can imagine putting an entire, I might just do a little bit right now. I'm going to go to another layer right above this, right here, and I'm going to choose a rake. We'll just choose the green. I'm going to make it really big, and it's going to be the rakes. I'm actually going to choose a blue. I'm going to bring that down a little bit and go back to my orange. I'm kind of sticking with the cyber colors. And I'm going to go back to the really bigger rake. But I'm going to make it so it's more of a glazed type of a rake. There we go. I think that's a wrap for today. I want to thank everybody for stopping by. It's been awesome. And I will, as I wrap this up here, I'll just go ahead and play the time lapse. Of where I started today. Actually, I started on this earlier this week and I did a pencil sketch. It'll show that pencil sketch first, and then it'll show me doing the line drawing and kind of filling in everything. It just takes a minute for this. For this export to happen. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for folks who've joined me. I just about I'm wrapping it up here, but before you don't head off, because you're going to be able to see the whole drawing session in about a 30-second short here in a minute. As soon as this wheel stops spinning, it'll happen pretty soon. Thanks for stopping by. We're just about to export this document. It's taken a few minutes. There we go. You can watch this drawing from beginning to end in a very, very quick recap. I think, like I said in the beginning of this, I played the sketch before I started painting. I had a lot of trouble with the nose. I just didn't know how I wanted it to look, and I redid the nose about 60 times. If you're an artist, you kind of get that. The cat came pretty easy. You know, I thought the cat was going to be the issue, but it was the nose on the woman. There's always something. So this cat and this woman are now united in the drawing. The sketch is just about done. And we're going to go to a line drawing pretty soon. Okay, I think this is where I started today. And there is one other thing I like to do just for fun before I conclude a drawing like this. So we're adding all the colors. We'll let this play out, and then we're going to use some filters to finish the drawing. Should be getting close. Thanks for stopping by. This is Adobe Fresco. This is Adobe Fresco with used with an iPad, and this is the recording of the drawing that I did today, the painting. And I think we're moving on to close pretty soon. It's going to go pretty quick. We're going to be done soon. And we're going to try out some filters. So I just really roughed in a background with trying to do sort of a cyber color scheme. And so now what I like to do when I get to the end of a drawing like this is I like to try out the filters just for fun. So my filters are, let me go all the way to the top here. Move that thing out of the way. And we can actually ask it for a darken mode. Sometimes it does, oh, I like that. It doesn't change much, and other times it changes a lot. Color burn, we lose the cat. The multiply works better, we don't lose the cat. The darken doesn't do much. Linear burn. Some of these filters don't do much. It's just fun to play around with them. The overlay is actually kind of nice. Kind of makes the colors a little more saturated. I'm going to go back up here to the multiply. And then I'm just going to play around with this. I'll probably hit the back button when I'm done. But if we were to play up the red a little bit more. I'm losing the cat, unfortunately. So I'm going to just take this all back to where I started. To normal. Just go back to normal and just bring up a little bit of difference, a little bit of there we go. Stick with that one. Okay, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time.